eSports Arena, powered by DSE Hawaii on the Hawaii Pacific University campus at Aloha Tower Marketplace. Here's your host, Hawaii Pacific University's Vice President and Chief Marketing Communications Officer, Jeffrey Rich.
Aloha, Sharks Nation. We're back live this Thursday morning. We are broadcasting from the beautiful campus of Hawaii Pacific University here at Aloha Tower Marketplace in beautiful downtown Honolulu. We are at the eSports Arena here, powered by DSE Hawaii, and we have a great show for you this morning. We are going to be talking all things softball. We've got fabulous guests. I'll introduce in a second, but it's a fun Thursday morning. The weather is back. We've got beautiful blue skies, and we're headed into hopefully it'll be a beautiful weekend. So returning, we've got head coach for the women's softball team, Jarnett Lono. Welcome, Jarnett.
Thank you so much.
It's good to have you back on the show. And you brought along three phenomenal players. Let's see, we've got junior Taylor Thompson, a right-handed pitcher hailing from Phoenix, Arizona. And we've got junior Neva Poulin from Norco, California. Am I saying that right? Norco. All these towns that kind of pop up that you guys are from that I've not heard of before, so we'll have to learn a little bit about Norco. And we've got freshman Layla Molina, a right-handed pitcher and infielder from Manteca, California. Welcome, ladies. We are glad to have you here this morning. Wow. Well, hey, let's kick off, Jarnett. So you're back on the show. It's good to have you back. You guys are just getting rolling with your season. You kind of kicked things off with the alumni game back a couple Saturdays ago, end of January. Mm-hmm. And you played that at Hawaii Loa Field, the Howard A. Okita Field.
Yeah, it was a big event. We had about 60 different alumni come out. I think they realized that this could be the last year that we're using Howard A. Okita Field. So it was a wonderful turnout. It was a family event. The girls got to meet a number of different generations. We've had the 1991 national championship team there, as well as the 2010 national champions. Wow,
that was quite a return of alumni committed to the program and a beautiful venue to play. So that's exciting. So you're really just getting rolling with the season. You haven't hit your first conference game yet. But you had a tough start with a doubleheader or two games on last Saturday, both losses. But then you guys bounced back with a win against Oklahoma Christian University. So you're getting rolling. How's the team looking? How are you feeling as we hit the season?
The team looks really good. We have all of the pieces to be successful, which I think is one of the positive things that they all recognize and they all see. The record and the scores that's reflected from our losses on the road trip doesn't define who the team actually is. And being that we have two of our pitchers here, I think they'll speak to it a little bit further. But they know that they have some work to do. They know they have to get back on track so that we can start our winning ways.
Nice. Well, it's good to be optimistic, and sometimes you kind of work the kinks out early in the season, get the rhythm down, figure out the team's identity, and then things start to click. So do you feel like you're going to hit that season and really get rolling here as we roll into your fifth game of the year?
I think that this weekend and our trip, it was the first day when we had those losses. It was just, for the pitchers, we've been working so hard. We go out early on our own, and we've been working harder than I think we have as a team. And we have great chemistry and all this. And usually when one of us has a bad day, the other two can pick it up. But it just so happened to be that all of us had our bad day on the same day. But I know that doesn't reflect who we are. I know because I see him every day at practice, being like the oldest pitcher there. I expect better from myself and the other two, and we're going to have a great season.
Well, that is an optimistic view, and that's the kind of spirit that the team needs to really kind of get things rolling. Taylor, you're from Phoenix, Arizona, and you're heading into your junior year, as we said. So I think last year, as a sophomore, you had some amazing stats. You appeared in 30 of 29 games, earned Pac West Pitcher of the Week honors in the final week of the season. Let's see some other accolades. You led the Sharks in ERA with a 2.33, 98 strikeouts, and 23 games started. You had the second most wins, 8 for the Sharks on the pitching staff, and had 2 complete game shutouts. season high 10 strikeouts against Colorado. You had a great season last year. How do you feel? Do you feel stronger this year? Do you feel like you know some of the players and can kind of figure out some of the batters and how to work them a little better this year now that you're heading into your third year?
Yeah, for sure. I think one thing that's really stuck with me is my freshman year. I had a bad game, and Coach B pulled me aside, and he said, it's taken years for pitchers to figure out that you have to be a pitcher, not a thrower. I think that really clicked in my brain, and Shorty knows I am a thinker, whether that benefits me or not. But I think that this year I'm going to come out a lot stronger. I know the team's like the back of my hand, and even though they've seen me multiple times and they know, it's like they don't know what I've been working on. They don't know what's coming. So I think this year's going to be a lot better. So when you say a pitcher, not a thrower, you mean the cerebral part of the game and really thinking through how do I work this batter? How do I play to my strengths and their weaknesses? And do you guys have, good scouting on players, or is a lot of it getting familiar over multiple seasons and playing the same teams and seeing the same players come back each year? I'd say both. Shorty gives us like a scouting report before we play anybody, and then I also know, since we play a lot of the same teams, I'll see who's returning on the team. I'll see, I remember when I did this, look at the play-by-play, look at the box score, and helps me decide that. And our pitching coach as well, she knows this girl can hit that, she can't hit this, and it gives us a lot of confidence. You just got to trust the process. So analytics, boy, it's just become such a big part of sports these days, and really understanding how to play to strengths and weaknesses. Let's see, Neva, so you are also heading into your junior year, and you are from Corona, California. Now, is that northern or southern or? It's southern. Southern, okay. Yeah. Getting my geography down for California. What suburb of LA? Is it? It's a little bit more further down south, more towards Riverside. Okay, Riverside area. Okay, know that. So, as last year, you appeared in 35 games, 16 starts. You're an outfielder and a catcher. So, utility player in a way. Kind of plug in where the team most needs you. Yep. What's your favorite position to play? I really like to play outfield. Not a big fan of the infield. But if she needs me, I'll go there, That's what you love, Coach, right? But willing to do anything to create success. That's Neva. Let's see. So you had 3 multiple RBI games last year. You recorded 2 games with multiple hits and RBIs against Dominican and Azusa Pacific. Let's see. Other stats from last year. Back in high school, 2019 high school Division I national championship? You guys won the state championship, huh? What was that like? Yeah, we did. It was honestly really cool. I worked really hard to be able to go, because it just started off with me helping out varsity, and every day I would come and I'd be there for their practice. I'd get in, get my work in. So they ended up pulling me up and I got to go, and it was just so cool to see a different level of the game, because it was also the Division I CIF championships. Okay. So it's a whole new level. All these girls are California. Going. That's big time, right? Yeah, all these girls who are playing are going D1 schools, starting their next years, and it was just really cool to see the dynamic of that. And what it really takes to be a collegiate softball player. Had you had success through your softball career going back, even as a younger person and playing in, leagues, or, was that really your first taste of team victory, team championships? Or had you had, what many people, it seems like so many athletes, they get on, through their little league careers and whatever they're playing, and they just, they win championships left and right. And then you have other players who play their whole career and never win a championship. Yeah, definitely the biggest one. We've won tournaments and stuff in travel ball, but it wasn't anything as big as that. This was a big deal. Yeah, very big deal. Yeah, the competition in Southern California is top notch when you measure it across the states, right? I mean, the cream of the crop comes out of California. Yeah. And it's slowly moved over to the east to the SEC. But you look at where those rosters all originate from,
It's all California
Yeah,
kids.
I mean, the weather, the ability to play, the size of the state, the population, the number of schools and programs, it's just highly competitive. Cool. Well, hey, we are going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to continue to get to know our players. We're going to talk a little bit with Layla about her career. So you are listening to Sharks Weekly. I'm your host, Jeff Rich. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to Sharks Weekly on the Hawaii Sports Radio Networks, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
And we're back on a beautiful Thursday morning here at the Aloha Tower Marketplace campus of Hawaii Pacific University, talking softball this morning. So Layla, we were just about to get to know you a little better when we hit the commercial break. So you are a freshman, so just headed in, first year college experience here at Hawaii Pacific. You're a right-handed pitcher and an infielder from Manteca, California. Your sister plays also or is here at HPU. So how's that? What's that like having a family member, a close family member, so close to you to be supportive?
It's nice. I'd say I've grown up playing with her like multiple occasions, like my last travel ball season. So I'm like kind of used to it. But it's always nice because like I can never really get homesick because she's always with me. And at first, though, I had very mixed emotions about her coming because I'm very independent. I was like, you had your 2 years to figure like whatever, but be by yourself. But I'm kind of glad. Like I think it would be way different without her. And like even with like certain friends like on the team and groups, I feel like it's easier to get closer to the older girls also because she's like in between us. Mm-hmm. So it's very helpful. I much appreciate it.
I imagine she was an influence on your decision to come to HPU?
Well, I committed first.
Oh,
and she
okay.
went to Western Oregon prior for her first 2 years. So I committed and she was going to transfer. And my dad was like, just like go to HPU, like try. So she ended up doing it. So she came because of me. Just to let everybody know.
There you go. All right, so that's on the record now.
On record.
On
Yes.
record.
Yes.
Wow. Well, what's your experience in Hawaii been like? How have you acclimated to the academic life of a college student, a student athlete, and all the demands that come along with that?
I think I'm acclimated pretty fine. I love the weather here, so much. Like, when we went back to California, I was like, it's cold. I just want to go back in like the warm. But school-wise, I'd say I've always been good at school. I like it better than high school because it's not like classes, the same class every single day. It's like more on your own time.
Yep.
And then softball-wise, it's just like a lot of extra work. It's like different type of practicing, I guess you could say, like the way it's run and like learning new things and new techniques and stuff like that. But I think it's been pretty good so far.
Have you always been somebody who kind of structures their day and has sort of a routine that you go through, or did you learn that structure as you moved on into college?
I'd say I had a pretty good routine. I'm very like things the way, and if there's change, I'm like, no. Like I want it a certain way done. Like that's how I am as a person. So.
So that's good. That's good to have that combination of openness and a firm belief in what you want and how you want it done. Those are a good blend of things. Are you a surfer? Do you like beach life? What's been most appealing about the lifestyle here in Hawaii?
I love going to the beach. I would love to try to surf, but I have very bad balance, so it's probably never going to happen because I can't even ride a skateboard. But yeah, I like to go to the beach. I want to go snorkeling and I want to swim with sharks, like free diving.
Sharks.
Yes, I want to do that before I leave.
Wow, I don't know. It takes a lot of courage. Has anybody done that?
She swims with sharks all the time.
You have before? Oh, shark! Go Sharks! Yes, the shark chomp. But nobody here has done that yet. Real serious sharks, right?
Yeah, no, I don't know anybody on the team, but I know people like from the school who have.
Wow,
so.
Yeah, the marine life here is just amazing. I go up to Kaneohe every Saturday morning and go out with an outrigger club, and a couple Saturdays ago I saw a whale jump. It looked like a killer whale, though it might have been. There was some other whale, I guess it looks a little bit like a killer whale, but it was the most striking thing because it's just out of nowhere, and you just realize the wildlife, whether it's, aquatic life or chickens and roosters running around the island. It really is just so different here. And it's interesting to hear, when people from California come on and say, God, it's so much warmer here and nicer. Because I think most people on the mainland think of, certainly Southern California as a mecca for good weather and outdoor life. But man, we take things to another level here in Hawaii. What are some of the team activities that you guys pursue to build chemistry, camaraderie, get to know each other better? Do you have some favorite beaches that you hit? Spaghetti dinners. But tell us a little bit about how the team comes together off the field to build rapport and chemistry with each other.
We've done a few activities this year. We've done it the past 2 years. We went to Haunted Plantation around Halloween time. That was pretty fun.
What is that exactly?
Like, you walk through a haunted house and there's people jumping out at you. You have to stand in a line and hold on to each other. So I think I was holding on to you.
It's actually located in the historic Waipahu area.
Okay.
And so it was old plantation cottages. So there's about 6 different cottages on the property.
Oh my God,
and this
very cool.
entertainment company they go all out.
And they do that every Halloween?
It's an annual thing, and it's scary.
All right. That's going on my list for October.
And after that, of course, I mentioned last year when I was on the show, Chili's. It's still going. We love Chili's.
The restaurant.
The restaurant.
Well, good plug for Chili's here.
Yeah.
Everybody loves the baby back ribs, right? Maybe we should have a rendition of "I Want My Baby Back, Baby Back." No?
Come on, Tay.
I don't know. I'm more of a triple dipper kind of girl.
The triple dipper.
Yeah, it's like 3 appetizers in one. But yeah, we also did Friendsgiving. Me and Neva hosted it at our house. And yeah, we do on road trip. That's a great time for the team to bond. We usually do karaoke, but we have to be mindful of the other guests because we have a little bit of a bigger team this year. Beautiful voices, though, too.
And dancers, might I say.
Yeah, we do have some dancers. If you check out our Instagram page, you can see some of that. And our TikTok.
Dancers and karaoke. Wow.
They also do a lot of stuff by supporting the other sports and athletic programs here that I think they just do it more on their own. Mm-hmm. It's not really an organized thing. They'll pull a bunch of girls together, say, let's go here, let's go there. So it's not always an organized or planned event, but for the big ones, they get together.
So it sounds like this team has a natural desire to come together. Have you found, I imagine that's not been the case every year, have you had, Jarnett, to sort of figure out ways to build that team chemistry and get them working together how have you done that in the past, and how have you motivated your players?
Absolutely. I mean, with every generation in class, it's always different. So it's important that we try to get in and build the culture early. And a lot of that culture and team building activities come from them understanding the history and the success of the program. So that's the easy part. And then letting them figure it out on their own and see if they have similar type goals, aspirations as the ones who came before them, and then helping them find their way on that journey.
Well, it sounds like you guys have done that successfully and created good team chemistry and picked up on a great culture that Jarnett has built with the program over the years. And that pays dividends in terms of success on the field and wins, but also just having a great college experience. And I think that's really what it's all about, because as a D2 program, we are student athletes. We are focused on the success of our students, not just the athletic success of the team. That's important, but at the end of the day, we want to have you be successful when you move on with your professional life. So, hey, we haven't had a chance to say hello to our in-studio producer and cohort, Mr. Paul Brecht. He's been quietly sitting over there working the board. Paul, what's going on with you today?
Oh, I'm just out here giggling along with a fun crew. Whenever softball comes on, I always know that it's going to be a fun day. Jarnett always brings the energy. And then Taylor, I mentioned it when she walked in. I said, oh, man, we got a veteran coming on in today. So it's been a fun show. It's trade deadline day in the NBA, so obviously I'm trying to keep up with that. That's about a half an hour away, so all that as well. But HPU sports are big time on the mind right now, and man, softball, it's exciting. You guys, you got a selection in the Pac West that I was curious about in that preseason poll. Mm-hmm. And Coach Lono, I'm more interested in what your thoughts were, because I saw you guys were selected to finish 5th in the preseason Pac West poll. And that's obviously voted by the coaches and whatnot. And I was just curious how you took that, and maybe the players could talk a little bit about how that sat with you guys as well, especially considering you guys made the inaugural Pac West tournament last year, and only 4 teams make that. And, just curious what that kind of would that set a message to you guys to open up this year?
It was as expected. And I think when the other teams looked at our roster and looked at who we lost and not at who gained and who we gained and who stayed, they didn't think that we would be the type of power team that we are expecting of ourselves. So I think for us as the coaching staff, we said, oh, this is great for us. The target is no longer on our back as number 2. Because I think after the tournament, everybody sees what we have, and they're thinking, well, that's not the real team. And as time goes on and as we get up the hill, we want to peak right around late March. And that's when I think the team will really come together and be that team that's going to get out there and win the conference.
What does it take to get to that point? Obviously, with softball, it's similar to baseball. It can be a game that's very humbling at times. How do you guys kind of deal with that as you look for the consistency that you just mentioned you're looking for come, say, late March as you enter into that Pac-West tournament, that postseason play type of area of the season?
Softball, just like baseball, it's about consistency. So the more repetitions, the more times you see the other pitchers, they can play 20 games against themselves and pitching to one another, but, they get into a routine of just same old. Once you start seeing more lively pitching, different defenses, that's when you see the more consistent play occur. The positives from the games that we played is we rarely made defensive errors. We made all of the routine plays in the outfield, and it was just our hitting that really limited our runs that was scored. So, once we start seeing the ball a little bit more, pitchers get their legs back under them, they'll be fine.
It seems like, so you're kind of casting the team as a strong team in pitching and defense. Last year, anyway, weakness in hitting. I think you guys both had perfect fielding percentages last year. I think, yes, as a stat I knew, but yeah, congratulations, you perfect fielding percentage.
1,000.
But all that speaks to, strong defense and pitching. But I would think that when you have such strong pitching, that it by virtue of facing those pitchers in your practice, it makes the hitters stronger. So do you see that as a major upgrade this year because you do have such a strong pitching staff that they'll help the hitters get better as they start to see other teams and strong pitchers on other teams?
Yeah, absolutely. Between the 4 coaches, we all pitch every day to our hitters, and they're constantly hitting off of 3 right-handers and a lefty, and we all have various speeds, various spins. We try to keep them off balance, but it's mainly for them to get good contact, good reps in, so that they build the confidence.
Yep.
But when the 3 pitchers actually pitch against the team, they're not giving in.
Yeah,
they want to strike out every single batter that comes up to the plate. So there's a lot of friendly competition, and for them, their advantage is they know every batter's weakness, and they expose that.
And is it, when you talked early about the cerebral part of the game and placement as a pitcher. So, as a coach, it sounds like you preach, that aspect to, how a pitcher can be successful. It's not just speed. It's not just powering it past the hitter, but really thinking about placement and working it inside and outside and all. And that makes your pitching staff obviously stronger. And when you have outstanding speed, it can just blow one past hitters, which it sounds like you guys can do, then that's a great combination. So that should create a lot of success for you.
Yeah, I'm glad it resonated with Taylor, the difference between a thrower versus a pitcher. Anybody can step on the mound and throw pitches to the other team. But a pitcher is someone who's defined as they'll take command of the mound. They'll know the ins and outs of every batter and feel confident about their stuff. And every day their stuff may vary. They may come with a repertoire of 5 or 6 pitches, but on any given day, 2 or 3 may be the best pitch that's working for them. And so understanding their own limitations versus their strengths helps them to develop into a pitcher.
Wow, spoken really well. And just, so obvious, when you approach the game like that, Coach, that contributes to the creation of this culture, this understanding of how to be successful. And that's all part of moving to the next level at college from high school and to create success in other aspects of your life. All right, so hey, we are due for another quick commercial break. You are listening to Sharks Weekly. We're going to give a big Sharks chomp on the outtake here, so why don't you lead us, Coach? Chomp. All right, we'll be right back.
You're You're listening to Sharks Weekly on the Hawaii Sports Radio Networks, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
And we are back broadcasting from Hawaii Pacific University, talking softball this morning. And hey, just before we get back into it, I just want to give a big shout out and a thanks to our amazing show sponsors. Sharks Weekly is brought to you by Outrigger Resorts and Hotels. Hawaii-based Outrigger Resorts and Hotels is proud to support the collegiate athletes of Hawaii Pacific University. And we're also sponsored by Caswell Orthodontics and Dr. Kimmy Caswell. We change your smile, you change the world. Caswell Orthodontics. Thank you so much to our wonderful sponsors. But hey, let's get back to our conversation with our in-studio guest today. So we were talking about building team chemistry and kind of how things come together. You mentioned before that, the team supports each other and the other sports here at HPU. Mm-hmm. So I should call out that we've got homecoming coming up this Saturday, and it's going to be a big day for HPU sports. We've got men's and women's basketball in action from the Shark Tank. Later in the day, we've got an exhibition game for faculty and staff to get out there and see who can get the worst injury from all of us. I'm just hoping that's not going to be me. But you guys, supporting your other student athletes in the programs is important for a school like ours in particular. Do you guys get out and really help bring that school spirit and that level of support to the other programs? You planning to hit homecoming Saturday? I'd mentioned too before that we are also have our first beach volleyball game. I think Saturday morning. We had beach volleyball on last week, and just as a reminder, they will play over at Queens Beach in Waikiki. So great opportunity to get out and to see the first ever beach volleyball game at Hawaii Pacific University. But what are your plans, guys? You going to try and get out and spread the love with some of the other HPU sports?
Yeah, for sure. We really enjoy going to these games because it's also we get super competitive and we're not even playing. You'll hear us on the sidelines. We're probably one of the loudest people there, we want it just as bad as the team that's playing wants it.
Wow, that's so important in a school like ours. We're a small private school. We're a close-knit community. There's a sense of camaraderie and support here that I think you don't always feel at other schools. And it sounds like you guys are one of the teams that really leads the way in spreading that positive energy and helping with the wonderful culture that you've created to help spread that around other programs. Wow. Paul and Debbie, we've got HPU's athletic director in studio today, Debbie Snell. So Debbie, you've got a big day coming up on Saturday. What's the day looking like? And I imagine you're going to be running around crazy with everything going on.
It's going to be a super busy day. I want to shout out to Robin and Student Activities. She's bringing food trucks.
Robin Surge?
Yeah, right. Robin is bringing food trucks out for homecoming, and they'll be giving away some T-shirts for different classes of students. There are lots of giveaways going on. As you mentioned, we have a faculty staff basketball game at halftime of the women's game and halftime of the men's game. There are, like I said, lots of giveaways happening. A surfboard, I think, is being given away at tonight's game. Thanks, Jarnett, for that reminder. And so a lot is happening. I just encourage everybody to come out, be there, cheer for the Sharks. I have some really cool fans that say I'm a Shark fan, actual fans. So if you come and ask me for one, I'll give you one at the game. So it's going to be a really, really fun week and weekend leading up to homecoming. So Sharks on the beach for beach volleyball. So yeah.
Sharks on the beach. I like that. That's a nice little catchy slogan. Good. Paul, you must be excited as we kind of roll into Saturday, and the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, I'm sure, is going to be busy over the weekend.
Yeah, it's always busy times. We mentioned, obviously, home coming up this weekend. I'll be there at Queens Beach for beach volleyball, or at least some of that. It's a big-time day for a lot of different Hawaii teams. I'll be there tonight, actually, sponsor night at the Shark Tank as well for men's basketball. You continue to mention all the wonderful sponsors of this wonderful show and this university, and Jesse Nakanishi and his staff continuing to do a really nice job with community outreach this year, trying to make sure that everybody feels as appreciated as possible. That's kind of where it's going tonight. Big time matchup against Concordia Irvine. In fact, they've never beaten Concordia Irvine at home in Honolulu. They're 2-10 all time, the men are, and looking for their first win inside the Shark Tank, so would be a big time matchup there. And then obviously Saturday coming on up, another big time couple of games for both the men and the women. So you're right, Hawaii Sports Radio Network going to be all over the place. You'll see us at a bunch of HPU sports, and of course you'll see us at a bunch of softball games later on this year, as well as we take in the Sharks as they kind of swim their way back up to the top of the Pac West.
Wow, too many water shark metaphors for one to handle this morning, but I love it. Guys, let's talk a little bit about goals and plans past graduation. As you think about your college experience and think about where you want to go off to and what you want to do, let's start with a little bit of an understanding of your academic pursuits, and then from there, what's the professional goal? So we'll start with Taylor. So
Taylor's like, not me. Let's start with
you're
Neva.
going first, Taylor.
Neva's is more interesting.
So let's see. Your major. Tell us a bit about what you're studying and what you want to do when you get out of here.
So I'm studying criminal justice. I've been doing that the whole time. I kind of decided that because I was watching Criminal Minds. But it's actually super interesting. I'm definitely going to try to stay here and do something with that. I'm really passionate about corrections and rehabilitation of inmates, that kind of stuff, getting them together with their families, community outreach, all that. So that's probably what I'm going to do with my degree.
So Criminal Minds was the influencer. I shouldn't laugh because before I went to college, the hot show was LA Law, which none of you would ever remember because it way before everybody's time. But I was convinced I wanted to be a divorce attorney after watching that show. And then, of course, when I got into college and I studied a little bit, and first-year law students said, this is not really what I enjoy and what I like. So we're all influenced a little bit by pop culture and things that we think. But then when you really think about the profession, is it something that I want to do? Is it something that I'm passionate about? And it sounds like you found that. It sounds like you have a good, firm grasp of what would be a positive, engaging career for you and something that would give you some feeling of reward for
sure.
giving back. Well, that's awesome. All right, so let's keep going on career objectives. So Layla, you're a freshman, so you probably are just starting to think about what you want to do and where you want to go. So tell us a bit about your major. So you're a psych major.
Yes.
You were telling me earlier that you're interested in child psychology and a hospital environment. Obviously, it's going to require some post-grad work as an undergrad and moving on to master's and maybe even doctoral level programs. So tell us a bit about your goals.
Well, I picked psychology because I wanted to stay in the medical field, but I don't do well with blood and cutting and all that stuff. I can't watch Dr. Pimple Pop or stuff like that. So I was like, yeah. So I was like, what is something that could stay in the medical field but I don't have to deal with all that? And I was like, psychology. So I took AP Psych class my senior year and I loved it. It was the most interesting class I've ever taken. I think it's the mind's very interesting how it works, and you do certain things because of certain experiences and trauma and stuff like that. So that's why I picked psych. I hope to be working in a hospital and helping little kids because it's easier to start and help when they're younger instead of it progressively getting worse as they're older. So
you're laser focused on child psychology, though not broader abnormal psychology for adults and all?
Children.
No?
Specific.
No, it's good to know what you want to do and where you want to go.
Yeah, so they end up with Taylor in the end.
Okay, there you go.
And I'm sorry, I meant with Neva. You'll love this story.
All right, Neva, you're on deck here.
All right. Well, right now I am a nursing major with a minor in forensic science. Originally, when I came in, I was a marine biology major, but
That's a big pivot.
It just wasn't working for me. I'd wanted to do it for so long, and so my story is kind of similar to Taylor's. I was watching Castle, and there's this lady in the show. Her name is Lanny, and I'm watching her, and I'm like, I could see myself doing that. So my goal in life is to be a forensic pathologist.
Now there you're going to have to deal with a lot of blood and gore, and so you're okay with that?
I'm totally fine with it. It really interests me, like, just like seeing like how the body works, and like just being able to figure out like how did this person die, kind of. It sounds morbid, but
did you ever watch the show Quincy? Did you ever hear?
I don't think so.
It's like a show from the 80s. Jack Klugman starred in it. He's a forensic pathologist, coroner, and he has all sorts of extends into areas he probably shouldn't, infringing on law enforcement, but finding the reasons why people died, usually at the hand of something sinister. Great show to watch if that's the career you want to pursue.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that.
You can find that in reruns. So, all right, so that's interesting. So, are there people in your family that influenced that decision at all too, or had you had exposure to it outside of TV and pop culture?
No, not really. But my dad works in law enforcement, so I've always been around that kind of criminal justice kind of area as well. Yep. And like my aunt and her daughter my aunt's a neuropathologist, and then my aunt's daughter is going to med school right now. So like seeing that, and like during the major change was very eye-opening too, because my aunt is so supportive of it. So like she is helping me, like she works at UC Riverside.
Okay.
Like bunch of published stuff, but she has her own lab, and we're gonna go on a tour of her lab, and it's just, I don't know. Sorry, I get
the excitement, right?
Yes,
I'm so excited.
There's a gleam in your eye for sure when you talk about that. Wow. Well, it's great to have things charted. We're going to take a quick commercial break, but then when we come back, Jarnett, I'm going to ask you a question to think about over the break. But have you seen a change in students most recently, really having a defined career pathway versus maybe a few years ago, when they didn't necessarily know what they wanted to do? So think about that. When we come back, let's get the coach's perspective on career goals. You're listening to Sharks Weekly. I'm your host, Jeff Rich, and we will be right back.
You're listening to Sharks Weekly on the Hawaii Sports Radio Networks, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
And we are back Thursday morning here talking softball. So we were just talking about career goals and, what majors and careers you guys are looking to pursue. And Jarnett, I asked you, have you seen a change in students, maybe from early in your career, where students were looking, maybe more, didn't have maybe as much of a direction on what they wanted to do professionally? Have you found that your student athletes come in now, by and large, with a better understanding of why they're here, what they need to do to be successful, and have a career goal in mind?
It's important during the recruitment process that you lay a general plan out for them and their families, and sort of hear the direction that they intend to go into. And it's not often that they change majors like how Neva had expressed here, but for the most part, majority of the student athletes we bring into softball, they're very determined. They know exactly what they want, and they know the pathway that they have to take. Mm-hmm. So that hasn't changed much. I think post-COVID, we're seeing a little bit more shifting in after their first year. Okay, maybe that's not the program that I really wanted. And they found another type of interest by being on campus in different programs and actually talking to their teammates.
Yeah, it does seem like that's more the case with students. We hire a lot of students at the university, and we have a lot that work in the marketing department. And even as freshmen today, I see them coming in with a plan, mm-hmm. And a good understanding of what their major needs to be to support that professional pursuit. So. It seems that the pandemic did have kind of a role in that and caused people to be more introspective about what makes them happy, where they want to go with their life. Did that affect you guys? I think you were, freshmen in the last pandemic year, or were you still in high school?
We were in high school. It was it started our junior year into our senior year. It ended. But
did your sports get canceled during the pandemic? So
yes.
You had no games at all?
Nothing. Like full lockdown, you could only go out to like get food, or at least in California.
Yeah.
You go out to get food, you had to wear a mask. You could go to the grocery store, but a lot of places weren't open. There was no like fun things open, no softball, nothing like that. It was, you go out, you get what's needed, you come back home.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, for me it was nice because like my parents made it fun because we used to do themed dinner nights. But I think being home just really like did make me think more about what do I want to do with life, you know, like what are the things that make me happy and what do I want to pursue. So I think having that and then going in and realizing with the major change that I wasn't happy in my major, I think before COVID I probably would have just stuck it out. But after COVID, it's like, no, this isn't making me happy. I want to switch my major to something I do love.
Yeah, it's really fortunate that you figured that out while you still had an opportunity to make that change.
Yeah, it was right after my first semester too, so it was super quick. But I don't know, I'm really happy with my decision. You know, like I think about it a lot that if I didn't decide to rewatch Castle, I wouldn't have like thought about changing my major. You know, I'd still be kind of stuck, still trying to figure out something else to do. You know, maybe switching around, jumping around a lot more. But now that I did that, I'm just in a place that I love, and I'm very interested in what I'm learning about.
You know, your comment about, you know, comfort jumping around. I remember, you know, years ago, that was one of the sort of things that people talked to you about going to college, that was your opportunity to jump around, to try different things. So my generation went to school. A lot of us, you know, didn't know what we wanted to do and what we wanted to pursue. Going to college was that opportunity to do it. Mm-hmm. And I've seen, as you mentioned, Jarnett, that there is a shift now that you have to come in with a plan. Maybe it's part of the whole world becoming more competitive, and you've got to figure it out earlier if you want to be successful in life and have a, you know, the standard of living that you're looking to pursue. But it seems like that time has gotten shorter, where you do have that luxury of experimenting and trying different things. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but it sounds like you guys have figured it out, and you have a pathway, and your success on the field as well as in the classroom are indicative of how much you've thought about what you want to do with your lives, and also the culture and support that you've gotten from Coach and the program and just your experience here at HPU. Any thoughts on?
Yeah, Layla represents the tail end of COVID, so that might be a different perspective that we haven't heard.
So you were take us back to the first year of COVID.
I only got to half of my freshman year.
Yeah.
So in high school, it happened like March of my freshman year. So like my first 2 years, I never like experienced high school softball. Like my first year was like my junior year. So it was kind of like, personally for me, I did not like COVID. It was like I hated the online school. It was so hard waking up and doing, and I've always been good at school, and I had like no motivation. But I don't know, it's like a different experience. Like I never got to really I didn't get to do like the playoffs and the first team all league and all that stuff until I was a junior. And it's like, because my freshman year we played maybe 5 games, and then preseason, then COVID shut it down, and then my sophomore year was only like, they didn't count. They were just like, so you guys could practice. Like we played not even all the teams in our league. But yeah, COVID, it also made you think a lot because you're sitting at home doing nothing. So again, it made you like not take things for granted. Like sometimes people are like, oh, like I'm so tired, like I don't want to go to softball. It's like I was like, well, I want to play. Like this is the thing I'm like waiting for. Yeah. It was like very different change of perspective.
I imagine it has to make you appreciate those things that you can't do at that time and want them even more. You know, if there's a positive side, Jarnett, it's, you know, we've had a lot of student athletes on the show that have talked about getting that extra year or two of eligibility because of COVID. Mm-hmm. Do you think that, you know, net on net for those student athletes that it was maybe more of a positive? Nobody wanted to go through this and have to go on lockdown and all the things that we went through, but the ability to get, you know, that extra 1 or 2 years of eligibility is something that most athletes never get.
Yeah, 100%. True benefit for them, and it actually gave them a little bit more pride in the work that they had to approach and, you know, finish off.
Yep. Wow. Well, you guys are a remarkable group of athletes, and as I said earlier, I think the culture of the program that you've built here is just outstanding, and it's one of the signature sports here at HPU, and we see that success on the field. We see the success of our alumni that move off and do big things all over the world. This is a special place and an amazing place to come and to live and to have that student-athlete experience. So I want to say thanks to our in-studio guests. We have a big weekend ahead of us. As Debbie and Paul said, there are going to be HPU sports happening all over the island. So we encourage all of our athletic supporters out there to get out, support our teams, show that Shark spirit, and we are excited to get out and have a wonderful weekend. So as we go off the air, I think we need to give a giant shark chomp. So Jarnett, you want to lead the way on this?
On 3. 1, 2, 3.
Chomp. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week on Sharks Weekly. I'm your host, Jeff Rich. Have a wonderful week.
Aloha.
You've been listening to the Hawaii Sports Radio Network's special presentation of Sharks Weekly in conjunction with Hawaii Pacific University on 95.1 FM.